Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Wars, your official bootleg Strange New Worlds podcast. My name is Jeremy. Joining me tonight, it's Jordan. Wait a minute, Jordan. Let me see your arm.
No. Turtlenecks are in style. Don't worry about it. And since it's the finale, I've decided, much like the Gorn, I'm going to communicate using a series of lights instead of words tonight.
Right, so, Chelsea, you know what happens if I start seizing.
Yeah, also going to make for a really fun listen.
Maybe more fun.
Could be.
Just like a giant game of Mad Libs.
And to my left, to be continued. And now the conclusion. It's my co-host and co-life partner, Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea.
I thought you were just writing me out of the podcast. I was like, wait.
I'll make him wait all summer.
Come back.
The episode we're reviewing tonight will be rated on a scale from 1 to 10 by us, the co-hosts, and you guys in the Star Trek Wars Council left a rating on our Facebook page. If you wish to join the council and have your vote counted for next week's episode, head over to that page. You can find us by searching for Star Trek Wars. The council should pop up right at the top. There you can rate episodes yourself and can also leave a comment that'll be potentially read on air. It's a great community. We're all in there very active and love talking Trek with you. Now, before we get started, we got some things to go over since this is finale week. This being the last episode of live action Trek for a while, so shall it be the last one of Star Trek Wars for a bit, as we will not be covering season 4 of Lower Decks. And don't get me wrong, though, we all love Lower Decks. It's just harder to review a half-hour animated comedy. It's just all subjective. Like, yep, I like those jokes. I didn't care for those jokes. It's tough. But we love it, but we won't be covering it. I still, however, will release polls for Lower Decks every week for you guys. It's not the complete end of us, though. We may put out some bonus fun episodes from time to time. Plus, Chelsea and myself are working on releasing a new batch of Trek-related Patreon specials very soon. And you can also catch up with myself and son Connor over on the Bonding Together podcast. It's a podcast where we discuss the Bond films, but if you're familiar with us, you know there will also be plenty of Star Trek and Star Wars prequel references throughout. I just, on a personal level, want to say thank you to everyone who's been contributing over at the council, leaving comments, and listening to the podcast. You guys are the reason we're still here, and I'm not just blowing smoke up your scants. It's the honest truth. This was a 7-year project, and here we are close to a decade now, still talking Trek, and that's because of you guys, so we really appreciate you. Corrections department! Not as much of a correction, but a clarification. Chelsea, that was indeed Bruce Horak singing as the lead Blingon on the K-pop band.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was Himmer as the Sing-On Klingon.
Sing-On Klingon.
No, this is an actual correction, but it's towards me, and it's how to pronounce hegemony. I pronounced it wrong as a joke at the end of last week's episode, and then proceeded to pronounce it incorrectly by mistake immediately after also. So I never got it right. And I'm going to try to say it right in as few attempts to say it tonight as I can. I forgot to mention this last week, but the last line of the musical, Sorry, Earworm, will go on to have a much different, less whimsical meaning after Wrath of Khan. Anyways, if you find a correction from today's episode, we'd love to hear from you, and maybe we'll respond to it in a year. Let us know by writing us on Facebook, or you can email us at StarTrekWarsPod@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave a voice message instead, you can call us at speakpipe.com/Star Trek Wars, and we may play your message on next year's episode. Now, as Haggith always says, it's time.
So let's get down to the business.
To get down to the business and talk about Strange New Worlds. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 2 finale, Hegemony. Written by Henry Alonzo Myers, directed by Maya Verville. When the Enterprise investigates an attack on a colony at the edge of Federation space, Captain Pike and the crew face a return of a formidable enemy. Now let's get into our initial reactions in a segment we call Hit It or Quit It. If we like this episode, we'll
Hit it.
and if we didn't,
I quit. To hell with you.
all right, Jordan, let's start with you in this finale. Would you hit or quit this finale? I can't wait to hear your thoughts.
I would hit it. That's all you get.
Wow, I was really looking forward to that. Thank you, Jordan. Chelsea, what about you?
I think I'm gonna hit it.
You think? Oh,
Like Scotty hit the face of that planet in a shuttle.
is that one of ours? Okay. Well, I definitely would hit it. I'd hit it like the saucer section of the Cayuga hitting the Gorn dampening array. So I liked it.
Yeah, we gathered.
Let's jump into our pros. Jordan, let's start with you. What did you like about this finale?
Yeah, I'd hit it like Spock hit that Gorn in the face with a freaking shard of the shit.
There you go.
I like just kind of the start, the ambiance of the old-timey town. It has a very TOS feel, like they're just there to help plant some crops and set up some medical tents. And these people are like, you know what? Millennials suck. Let's go back to the olden days. And pretty sure that's what they said. The crew working together in more of a serious capacity, which has kind of been lacking this season. We've had a lot of, I mean, 2 of the last 3 episodes have been funny. And then the one, in between them was pretty much a Mbenga story. So we haven't had a whole lot of just like crew interaction. They've either been focused towards one person, they've been comedies, or they've been, musicals, or, there's room for all that in Star Trek. But this season's been a little disjointed in some ways. But I mean, we kind of talked about comparing season 1 to season 2, and I was curious what the scores come out to be from season 1 to 2, because 2, I don't think has had a bad episode yet. Mm-hmm. I think probably the premiere was maybe the weakest episode, but everything else has probably been like a 7 or better, in my opinion. And I don't know that season 1 is going to come out to a much higher rating, even though I really like season 1. So a really good finale, a good way to wrap up this season. We knew the Gorn were coming, and they delivered. It was had pretty much everything. A lot of the season-long storylines continue here with Chapel and Spock. We thought they were kind of done, and now they're floating in space, holding hands, watching, the saucer section go down. And that was, some of the just cinematography in this episode is phenomenal. It really is a beautiful show, and it's great to see like Star Trek episodes that look like, better than most of the Star Trek movies that we've seen. It's crazy what they're able to do. So also Ortegas getting to be part of the landing party finally. That's kind of another like season-long story arc that probably shouldn't have been a season-long story arc that comes to fruition here. And I was curious as to what you guys would recommend as a zombie movie for Spock to watch, because that is kind of broached this week, and I wasn't sure if you guys had time to think of suggestions. My suggestion would be Shaun of the Dead. I think that's a good zombie movie to start with.
He doesn't know humor or zombies, so just throw him right in.
Absolutely.
I would say it's more of a show, but The Walking Dead, though the first...
Oh, God.
He
doesn't have a year, Jeremy.
He might get confused also at some point when Michael Burnham shows up for 5 seasons.
His sister. Oh, no.
What?
Yeah, Sonequa left Walking Dead.
She's in that?
Yeah, she left Walking Dead to go to Discovery.
Oh my gosh.
She has some good moments.
Yeah,
That's
she was
crazy.
really good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Anything for you, Chelsea?
I was going to say Shaun of the Dead, but...
good choice.
Yeah, I think, I just want to see Spock watching the record scene where they behead a zombie from throwing records. I'd like to see his hot take on that.
Maybe they just, in the musical, they can play your favorite song, Chelsea, Zombie, by the Cranberries.
Yeah.
Sounds like she really likes it.
I like the song. I do. I don't like... I like all of the covers. But I can't with that. The he honking.
I really like that song, but it has no right being as good as it is. Like, especially the way Jeremy just did it. Like, yeah, that's strangely accurate.
Cranberries.
I usually got to let it linger.
Oh.
See, that song I hate. Okay, a pretty good Scotty intro this week.
Mhm.
I thought just like having him crash land in a shuttle, which we kind of find out later when he says he landed there. He's just building stuff. He's just a tinkerer. He's an engineer. He doesn't get great grades in school, but he knows his stuff. I also like the spacewalk on the saucer scene. It wasn't like a high-speed chase through an asteroid field while riding on a ship going to warp, but hey, it worked for me, and it's probably the best saucer walking scene I've seen since First Contact. And they're still doing a pretty good job of making the Gorn terrifying. Like the way that they move is like awkwardly fast and weird. That tail hanging down. It is like a fairly blatant xenomorph ripoff at this point. Yeah. Let's be honest. But there's enough that sets them apart as far as how they communicate and kind of the mystery to them. They definitely need to explain a little bit more because the Gorn don't make a ton of sense. Like my wife was watching this with me and she's like, wait, the Gorn have spacesuits? I was like, yeah, I kind of. I was like, well, they came here in a ship. She's like, oh, like they're lizard people that communicate by light, but they've got spaceships and, there's Gorn scientists and engineers and all that stuff. So we can't really see things from their perspective versus other, alien races because I'd get a seizure for one, and just hearing would get about as old as hearing the Klingons from Discovery Season 1. I will say the cliffhanger it's kind of a pro. I think they could have left it off a little bit better than Pike standing there dumbfounded for like a minute straight. I thought that could have been handled a little better or shortened. And I really wish that they would give us like 12 to 15 episode seasons because 10 is just not enough to do like a full season. It's not as satisfying. But as far as cliffhangers go, this is one of the better ones in recent memory. Hopefully the second part can be as good, as the first part. Neutral zone wise, I thought the Gorn ship breaking through the clouds should have been the cold open, like kind of that shot of Battelle looking up and that ship just completely covering the sun and blotting it out. I thought that was really kind of an eerie shot, and then they basically find some debris later, and that's the cold open. Both still better cold opens than any Enterprise cold open I've ever seen. Montgomery Scott, I can't wait for the Pelia Scotty scene. I wrote this right as I saw him because I won't be able to understand a single word. He comes out firing. At first, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even understand Scotty. But after like 10 seconds, my brain adapted and I could understand what I don't know if he just came out hot, but I mean, he sounded kind of like Scotty. I'm just so used to seeing, Scotty or his son in Star Trek Continues, who sounds just like him. And then I guess Simon Pegg is a little different take on it too. Speaking of Shaun of the Dead, he would be a little freaked out by that too. Right? This is probably, oh, Mr. Scott, what the heck are you doing?
Michael, Scotty.
I really thought Chapel was dead. Not really. I know she's not dead. I know this is more about how the crew reacts, but a ton of the characters are bulletproof, and that's always been one of the problems I have with prequels. So, I mean, they do a pretty good job here of kind of the impending danger, but you have Chapel and Spock in a scene against a Gorn. It's like, there's not any mystery. Like, after last season, the way it ended with, Hemmer, that, like, it shocked us, and I wasn't super happy about it, but at least we didn't see it coming. So there's something to be said about that. I think Lainey brings that up in the comments. I'm sure we'll talk about that later as well. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I could go on and on. There's definitely some really big pros. I have almost no cons this week, but what did y'all think?
I finally like Battelle.
Oh.
Yeah. I thought her interaction and her call with Pike at the beginning was just kind of endearing and sweet.
Jordan almost did a spit take.
Yeah, you can't say that while I'm drinking.
Ortega finally gets her away mission, so that's another huge pro. Also, more on that in my cons. Pike
she did so much.
Pike wondering if the Gorn are like reachable and misunderstood. And then La'an kind of having like a very obvious like struggle with that, but not lashing out. That's a pro because I mean they've done a lot with her like character development, and I really kind of liked that moment on the bridge. I think it was on the bridge. The little Gorn with the space helmet on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that lizards with clothes are better than just like your run-of-the-mill like naked lizards. So that's a pro for me.
So you need like a Barbie, but with lizards.
Yes.
Yes.
Doc Connors.
I loved Scotty. I thought that the casting was really good. I also kind of struggled at first to understand him, and then I was like, "Oh wait, okay, it's like the international, like or like the what is it? The translator,
Universal.
universal, not international. Universal
It works both ways.
Yeah.
The universal translator kicked in my brain. I was like, "Oh, okay, I can enjoy this now."
That goes-
It never kicked in with Pelia though, so maybe it's malfunctioning. Pelia
There's a
and-
lot that's malfunctioning with Pelia.
Pelia and Scott's interaction was really funny to me, where she talks about him being one of her best students, and then immediately, like, it was very like that Hammer thing, like, he was one of my best students. Now I just felt like I needed to say that. And then also on that same line, her telling Una that she would have given her an A in her class if she would have like provided answers like she did in the ready room. And then Una immediately like burning holes through her skull. I do like the fact that they portray like Starfleet as kind of like a flawed, classical, like bureaucratic, militaristic, like system. I don't know that Star Trek fans will like that, but I think it's more realistic. Like that's the way it would run. Like it wouldn't be this utopia that Roddenberry was hoping for, and I think it's interesting that we're kind of exploring that.
You definitely see the difference. Like Robert April as a captain, I'm betting is way different than Robert April as the admiral. You get up to that chair, and then all of a sudden you got to start making these bigger decisions that
Yeah.
I feel like no one wants to be admiral because that's what you become.
Yeah, you're just like the messenger, unfortunately.
And this is kind of earlier on in the Federation too, so I think it's kind of like aiming us towards TNG, which is more utopian centric. Still a lot of admirals, but I think they're still figuring things out.
Yeah. This isn't really related to the episode, but after we finished this episode, London, our dog, was horrified. Like she was staring at us and her eyes were super big. And I think that she connected the fact that maybe our gecko upstairs is a baby Gorn, and then watching them on screen, she was like, absolutely not. And we need
That's
to
what it
discuss
turns
this.
into.
Yeah.
But it was really cute.
Horrified.
Neutral zone, maybe because I like Mbenga so much. I don't really understand why they took him on the away mission because I didn't feel like we got to see a ton of him, but it's fine. Chapel barely getting a hold of that like phaser and then grabbing it just in time to kill the Gorn. That's just so cliche to me. And then so far, none of Pelia's students have had good grades. So like, at what point are we going to start looking at the instructor and stop blaming the students? Because these guys are like
I already
legendary,
did that.
like high ranking.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she's no longer teaching.
Yeah.
Let's see. I also know that Pelia gets a lot of hate from people. Jordan. But it seems like they're maybe leaning towards replacing her with Scotty.
Oh,
but
God, I hope so.
he's still pretty like low ranking. And did he serve with Pike? Or
I think it's unclear. I think a lot of Scotty's early years are not well known. Is that
Okay.
right, Jordan?
Yeah.
so that's cool that they brought him in then, because that gives him a little bit of creativity and like
And it
They
kind of
could
makes
kinda
sense,
do-
really. If anybody's gonna be on the Enterprise for a while,
I
it
don't-
seems like it should be him.
I don't remember them having a lengthy conversation in the menagerie.
No, I sure did.
and then this is just a weird thing in my brain, but after seeing the Gorn ship, I thought it looked like whale teeth.
Oh,
So it's like should be
Oh,
some
yeah.
foreshadowing for Scotty because like the humpbacks. And I know that that's not going to connect with most people's brainwaves, but it did in mine. So, and that is what I have. You, Jeremy?
very good. Thank you, Chelsea. Look, Jack, it'll take some time for me to process the emotional roller coaster that was season 2 of Strange New Worlds. It's right now. It's a lot to process,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how I feel about it. I know it's good. I don't know where it stands because, there's ups and downs. But I can tell you something that's really changed after 2 seasons. I really enjoy Paul Wesley as Kirk now, and I thought I was going to be alone with this. They got me. I'm on the Marie Patel wagon train to the stars.
Ugh.
And it seems like it's unanimous. I like her. And I thought she was great in this episode.
I
She
still don't
said
think
5
she's
good minutes.
I still don't think
That's all
she's
it
a
takes.
great actor, but I like her character.
I think she acted better in this one.
Well, she has to. She was already at rock bottom.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't get worse.
Well, I like her. And I love the Pike La'an pep talk scene later on where just talking about keeping the hope and like Pike saying that as much to himself as he is to her. And I just, La'an is one of my favorite characters on the show now too. I really like her, which sucks because she's one of the ones we don't know the outcome of. So that's not great. I thought Pelia was used pretty good here. Not
Easy,
to
Jeremy. It's just pros.
not to the extent that it warrants having Carol Kane play her at all, but still good. Calling Scotty her best student with the worst grades, I thought was great. And don't worry, you Canon Police nerds. Scotty will go on to love reading tech manuals, but at this stage, he's just a super smart young guy with a gift for coming up with things on the fly. We'll start to break into the song there for a second. So yeah, we got a great Scott this week. At first I thought, yes, this actor nailed the bad James Doohan accent for Scotty perfectly. Before finding out afterwards, actor Martin Quinn is indeed Scottish. But yeah, I loved him, and I hope to see more. Also, the Canon Police might tell you he should be a bit older, but if that's the kind of thing that takes you out, brother, you weren't far in to begin with.
Oh, they should have cast Capaldi.
What?
He's old and Scottish. Let it happen.
He's older than Scotty
I don't
in
care.
the undiscovered
I don't
country.
care. People age differently in the future.
Also, another big canon violation. I don't know if you got this one, but he has his middle finger on his right hand, which
Will acknowledge that
Mhm.
in the Canon Police section.
Okay.
People are livid, Jordan.
Is
And
there-
we'll get to it.
Does he talk about why he's missing that? Like, did they,
World War II.
yeah.
but they wrote it in? Because I know that he's
No.
like actually.
This will all.
They don't ever address it in the show.
Yeah,
So
these
then
are
it's not canon.
These are all great questions that
There's
I'm
screenshots.
definitely going to answer.
You say there's screenshots. Shut up,
Yeah.
Jordan. There's
No, I'm serious.
I got
People-
receipts, Chelsea. I got receipts.
People
right?
posted stuff
Pipe
on
down.
Twitter about this as a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Some of them were as a joke, but we'll break all this down later on. So stay tuned, true believers. I really liked the problem solving this week, figuring out how to get shuttles and bigger objects down to the planet without arousing suspicion from the Gorn.
You
Just-
don't arouse the Gorn.
Oh.
You know what happens.
Just good old fashioned smart conference room brainstorming, and I love it. See, I just moved right through it.
No, it's great.
Erica got an actual chance to do some cool stuff on an away mission, and I loved it. And I loved even more how good she felt when Pike acknowledged how great she was. Like, that was awesome. The producers are still liars and saying that we would get an Erica episode this year, but that was great. I love the scene at the end when the survivors are beamed up, but subtly not by a Federation transporter beam. I clocked it at the time of, well, that's odd. That's not the color of the transporter. It was green.
Mm.
But I didn't put it together until Pike did. So I thought that's great stuff. Like, yeah, perfect. I acknowledge it, but I didn't know at the time what it was I was seeing. I was just writing down Canon Police, like, oh, I guess transporters are green now. Just angry.
Dumb.
Oh, I hate this show. I thought the adult Gorn looked pretty great. Maybe a little too close to the elites from Halo, but hey, it's a good look.
Yes.
Instead of zzz, they're just like, what?
You
But-
pulled out that plasma sword.
Oh, that would have been so.
Jeez. Some flashbacks.
When Spock pulls out that plasma sword and puts it through the Gorn's
Lunges
face.
15 feet.
I was so pissed. I threw my controller.
I had a shotgun, so it was okay.
Oh, yeah, shotties. That was a great action scene. That whole battle on the Logi Bridge.
With the Spock and
Chapel? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great. Unlike the ones in Arena, this one actually had an excuse to be slow.
I was going to say Arbiter.
Oh, yeah, the
Oh,
Arbiter.
the Arbiter, yeah.
Yes. And really great visuals all around, I think. Like you mentioned, Jordan. I never felt like I was seeing the matte painting background that they hide a bit better now, but on lots of away missions, you can still see where the floor ends and the TV screen begins. Like among the Lotus Eaters, it's like, yeah, it's purple dust with some cages, but you also see where the wall is with the purple CGI wall.
Yeah, they also had like practical sets like that town, so they obviously shot on location. I don't think the space stuff was on location, but you know,
fair. But it looked real to me.
Yeah,
I liked that this planet is designed like a Midwest town. That's a very TOS budget saving Star Trek thing to do, and it, like I said, it looked great. Like I like that. When they ran into the barber shop, I was half expecting it to be Floyd's, but.
Where's the quartet? The perfect episode for that.
Yeah, we missed some things. Probably eaten by the Gorn.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking throughout this episode that we don't know when we'll get the next live action Trek. Presumably the final season of Discovery's next year, and then season 3 of Strange New Worlds sometime after that. And with the strikes going on, so much is up in the air right now. So I just enjoyed being in the moment of watching a new episode of Star Trek. And it just really made me happy and feel lucky that we got this. Neutral zone wise, however, to be continued. It's a great Trek finale staple, but one that was a little easier to deal with in the 90s. Back then, you'd get a 26-episode season with 3 months off. Now it's a 10-episode season with a potential 2 years wait. That's a big difference. So Hegemony is kind of the best of both worlds for Strange New Worlds. It's the best of Strange New Worlds, I guess, but not as good. And like you said, Jordan, the ending of the best of both worlds, like it's the Mr. Worf fire. And then the music plays, and then to be continued. The best of both worlds, that climax wouldn't have been as good if they were like, what are our orders, Captain? And it pans to Riker, and he stares at the camera, and then it says to be continued. Like, the excitement is that he said fire. So I think that's a small difference, but a big one.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we thought about this finale. When we get back after the break, we will talk about cons, get your comments, deal with the Canon Police, talk to the Gatekeeper, score this thing. Star Trek Wars is a podcast that has reviewed every single episode of Star Trek's classic era. We covered the original series through Enterprise in the first 7 seasons on this feed. Season 8 is dedicated to the Trek films, and Season 9 is where you're at now, where we cover all things modern Trek. You can find every one of those right here on the Star Trek Wars feed, plus bonus content with over 350 episodes of Trek content. It's never been a better time to... On top of that, we also have a Patreon channel that covers a wide variety of content, both Trek-related and otherwise. For just a few bucks a month, you'll get access to all that content as well, so check us out over at patreon.com/Star Trek Wars. Now, let's get into our... cons. Jordan, do you want to lead us off? What did not work for you in this finale?
Pelia. I mean, it's no surprise. Really, just my main con is just her in general. Scotty being one of her former students, like it might have been funnier if they hadn't done that 3 times already. It is getting borderline ridiculous at this point that several people at different age groups that are on that ship all went to her class. Are there 20 people at Starfleet Academy per year? Like, what is going on?
She's like the Boothby of engineering.
She is the Boothby of engineering, yes. But I wish she had as much screen time as Boothby had. They should put her in a booth of bees. So they should. Anyway, no, I don't know. I don't really dislike her. They just haven't done anything with her.
Yeah.
Her character, the way she acts, the character is just a very strange choice, and it does not fit with the rest of the cast of Strange New Worlds. And then they show Scotty this week, who already is way more likable, and I'm far more ready for him to take over. And coming off the heels of Hemmer last season, it's just not. She's got to be the worst chief engineer we've ever had on Star Trek for this duration. I mean, Mr. Argyle was not exactly Mr. Excitement, but he lasted like a few episodes.
Yeah.
So aside from that, really, like I said, the cliffhanger just kind of, it was a great episode, and then just a wet noodle at the end. Just like they could have amped up the tension in those last few seconds. Obviously, I'm super excited for next season. A little less excited knowing that we're going to have to wait months longer now because of the strike. But a really solid season. And I don't really have many other cons, honestly, other than I think Chelsea will probably get into the Ortegas thing. So they kind of built that up a little too much. But
All right. Thank you, Jordan. We'll see if Chelsea gets into the Ortegas thing in her cons. Chelsea, cons.
All right. Okay, first off, Chapel mysteriously surviving was pretty dumb. I think I would have preferred them delay her beaming up to the ship for just like a couple minutes. I think it would have been more fun to not really know, like, did she get transported up? Did it get blown up when she was like mid there? Is she still on the ground? I don't know. It just, especially because like we know she can't die. So it just kind of took me out of it. Pike telling Battelle that she can't make this choice when he finds out that she's like chock full of Gorn eggs. I don't know. That's kind of gross Chad energy that's not very Pike-like. I'm going to be pretty pissed if they finally give Erica an away mission and then kill her off.
Modern Trek wouldn't do that to us.
Like, we've been promised like her backstory. We've been promised a Erica like episode. Still haven't gotten that. What is the next one going to be? Her saving the day and sacrificing herself? Like, that's... I just have a bad feeling about it, and I'm already kind of mad about it, and it hasn't even happened.
After 2 seasons, this is what we know. Ortegas is at the helm. The pilot seat is her realm.
Yes, but we've also in the last I'm not encouraging that. The last couple episodes we've seen, is it an ensign like co-piloting the ship?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that just seems really, I don't know, like she has like speaking lines. I have a really bad feeling about it, and I'm already getting ready to write a strongly worded letter to the Star Trek big wigs, even though I don't know what's going to happen.
Especially since we don't know her fate right now, right? Because
she's not in any other Star Trek.
No, and she's on a Gorn ship in the finale. So
And
she
also
finally gets to go
La'an.
down, and she dies.
Like, are they going to kill off La'an too? I mean, obviously Batelle's going to die. But anyway,
I don't know. I think Battelle would have died this week. I think they're going to find a way to save her, but then it'll make me
they're going to
upset.
Locutus her.
Yes. You've been peeking in my
To
next
the
time
mouthpiece
on.
for the Gorn. Pike's dating a Gorn? Oh, it's going to be tense drama.
Gorn.
The Starfleet, like, away armor, not outfits. I want to call them outfits.
Action gear.
Action gears. I don't understand the flashlights. Like, I get that they look cool, but like, you're beaming down to a planet that is in an active hostage, like hostile enemy attack, and you're lit up like a fucking Christmas tree.
And it's not even Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird.
Strike 2.
Like, quit. Like, they're sneaking around, and like, they know that these guys talk with lights, and so what do? They light themselves up to try to sneak up on them? That was weird. Like, it looks cool, but it doesn't make any sense.
How does that compare, Jordan, to the Voyager flashlights?
More practical. I'd rather have both my hands free and be lit like a Christmas tree than be holding a palm beacon than taking up an entire hand. But no, I guess that's more TNG, because didn't they have the wrist ones in Voyager?
Oh, TNG had a
which
little palmers.
actually are better. So yeah, Voyager actually wins this one.
Okay.
Also, why do they need little flashlights shining up on their shoulders? Like, imagine
so you can
like
light their
looking,
faces.
but
Yeah,
like
basically.
looking to the
Tell who
right
they
to
are.
see if there's somebody coming and you're just blinded and then something murders you because you've got a spotlight in your face. I don't know. Again, they look cool.
And at least when they're like, cut the lights, they're easily cut.
Yeah. But they're dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm pretty annoyed. This seems I don't know, I kind of feel like a hypocrite. I know a couple weeks ago, one of my cons was there was no Gorn in the storyline. Now, and my cons is that they waited until the finale for the Gorn storyline. I think we all saw it coming. I was just hoping that I'd be wrong with that one. Spock being the only one that can deploy the rockets on the Cayuga. I feel like this was already done. I don't remember if it was season 1 Strange New Worlds. I don't remember if it was Discovery, but he was like the only one that could pilot the shuttle and move the asteroid. And that was the first thing that popped into my
Discovery
head.
season 2 finale, I think he had to.
Like he was
Because
the one
Michael
that
Burnham
had
was
to
gone.
do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
The only one who can do this is me and my sister.
Like-
She's not here right now.
and there's a whole crew.
Roll out of my sister.
I know that he's not the only alien on that crew who's smart. So that was a Michael Burnham thing for me. And I was like, wait, we've already done this. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word.
We've already cussed.
Yeah, but you'll bleep that.
I'll totally forget, but let me get my bleep button ready.
Admiral April is a cuck. That was perfectly timed.
I think he's not a captain anymore.
I hate him.
Be captain.
Captain Cuck of the Cuckuga.
Oh my.
I don't like him. And I know that he's just delivering orders, but also like, dude, grow a pair, have a spine.
backbone.
Like
Yeah.
you can't be a leader if you're too scared to stand up. And
Ooh, Chelsea.
Too soon.
Is that a pike burn?
he's not
I
in
mean,
his beat
oh,
beat
boy.
chair
Jordan,
yet.
too soon.
God. Also, that's kind of a con too. Like Pike knows his future, so he knows that he's not going to die by going down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's-
but everyone else can,
Not
as far as
everybody.
he's concerned.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a weird.
It seems like you're struggling a bit with this one.
Yeah, it was a weird episode for me. But I think that's it for my cons.
Okay, thank you, Chelsea. Yeah, we all knew Chapel would make it, but it's still a bit reality breaking to have her be the only one. I figured she must have done something brilliant to survive when no one else did. Like maybe
Like,
she.
find a spacesuit.
That's exactly
the whole
what.
time.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen, Jordan. But she didn't. She just woke up off the floor and spit some cardboard out of her mouth, like. And look, I'm not a writer, so I don't know how I'd fix that exactly, because I do love the idea of tossing the saucer section at the Gorn dampening weapon through science. But a part of me kept thinking, man, if Christine didn't die, then there must have been others still alive as well, and they all just got yeeted into a Gorn tower.
Yeah.
Hate it when that happens.
There had to have been survivors.
So I wish there was a way to acknowledge that and also yeet that thing into the Gorn tower, because I love that.
Yeah.
But she survived just by it exploded and she was in a hallway. Like there's
Yeah.
got to be more. I thought it was a bit off-putting that a little Gorn baby was strolling down the street. It looked like he was going to just pass on by, but they just killed it anyway. I know we're kind of at war, but it is a little Gorn baby. And I'm not saying they shouldn't have necessarily, but it is Trek. So it would have been nice for someone to be there, like Mbenga, perhaps, who didn't have any lines anyway, to be like, maybe point out it's just a baby and wasn't threatening them and was moving in an opposite direction. Then you can have Pike say, we can't risk it coming back. Plus, we all know what it's out to do. It's out there to kill. I just like hearing the talking and struggling with no right answers. I like that part of Trek too.
Yeah.
They're
It would've
just
been
like,
cool to just like
Yeah, kill lights. Here comes a little baby. Pew, pew.
like raise it as your own,
Got
and
it.
then like next season at some point, and Benga's just walking it
Oh,
around the Enterprise on its little like
yeah.
harness.
Yeah, if these new weapons can kill a baby, then they must be real strong. That was cool. Case 32. I did like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That was cool. That's it. Then we get some of the canon issues, of course, and
The cannon they fired at that little baby Gorn.
yeah, that's my biggest canon issue.
Canon Police, I hate these men. They hate New Trek. They're bitching just to bitch.
All right, Canon Police. I've heard a lot of this. Actually, Gorn can survive the vacuum of space, as stated in Star Trek Enterprise. Well, as we all know, Enterprise isn't canon. Just kidding. But Enterprise also canonically showed that the Gorn actually have the pixels of a PlayStation 2 game. So what are we going to adhere to?
What?
Now, did Spock actually stab that into his face, or did he just break the glass?
I think he broke the glass because it was choking and running out of the oxygens.
Maybe he swallowed some glass. Like, who knows?
He's just got some glass in his That could be it. Plus, that was Mirror Universe Gorn, so it's different.
True.
Wait, are they nice?
No, they're still monsters, but they can breathe
Less
outside.
scary.
Yeah,
Do they have goatees?
and maybe.
Gorn tees?
Undetermined.
Yeah, with the rate of that CGI, they could have. I don't know.
Wait, has Chelsea not seen In a Mirror Darkly parts 1 and 2?
No.
Well,
No.
there's a podcast
Yeah,
idea.
I've been saving that for her.
You've been saving her from it. No, that's a good episode, actually.
In the Mirror Universe, Vulcans have goatees, Terrans are light sensitive, and Gorn breathe in space. In the Mirror Universe. I think if anything, Strange New Worlds is telling us we are in the middle of the story they want to tell about the Gorn. We're not at the end yet. So they were nothing but monsters in season 1. Tonight they're monsters, but we also got a glimpse that there might be more to them. I truly think Strange New Worlds is building a bridge to the free-loving, skirt-wearing, slow-ass Gorn we all love from Arena. And I love it.
Simpler times.
Simpler
They could be defeated by a bamboo pipe and some gunpowder. Like,
just walking slightly to its left. And then, yes, of course, the big heated debate. You can clearly see all 10 of Scotty's fingers in this episode when James Doohan only had 9. Yes, it's true. Doohan only had 9, but Scotty canonically has 10 fingers. As Jordan pointed out, there are freeze frames where you can see that one's missing. But the show did go out of its way to try and cleverly place Doohan's right hand so viewers couldn't see it. Every now and then something would happen and you could see it. But whenever there was a few occasions, they would even use a stunt hand for close-ups when he's like hitting a butt and stuff.
Oh.
So Scotty does have 10 fingers. James Doohan does not.
I like that they would rather have this young Scottish actor have a finger forcibly removed so he can be in an episode of Star Trek to make them happy.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everybody knows that J.J. Abrams cut off Simon Pegg's finger.
Yeah, that's why he can't get any work.
He hasn't been able to work since. You 9-digit freak. And yeah, Scotty's too young. Shut up. Shut up.
That flies in your mouth. You talk too much.
That's what we thought about this week's episode. Let's hear what you guys at home think about it.
Picking up communication, sir.
Hey, lots of great comments for this finale week, everybody. We're going to read a few here, but we didn't get to them all. If you want to read them, check out the rest on the council page. Lots of great stuff on there. We'll start off with Chris Rowell. The only detractor for me was Chapel's miraculous 1 in a bazillion survival on the Cayuga.
the only way to say it.
I've been fighting it all episode. I couldn't do it anymore. Don't get me wrong. Glad she made it. Great character. But the way it was portrayed was a little far-fetched. Other than that, it was an exceptional season finale all around. I'm really digging this iteration of the Gorn. This show's ability to switch back and forth from jovial hilarity to dark and disturbing is a testament to the fabulous writing, direction, and capabilities of the cast. I gotta say, even Pelia, who I still believe has been a wasteful addition this season, was
Amen.
excellent in this episode. Amen. as was Sam, Ortega's, Ahura, Pike, Batal, everyone amazing. And we finally meet Scotty, who I immediately love. I just can't wait for season 3 and hopefully season 4 to season 7 plus of what has been my favorite Trek since Deep Space Nine and borderline favorite series of all. 9 Crate 32s out of 10.
Yes, I too am glad they did not kill Chapel, otherwise they'd have some explaining to do. And they should have her do the voice of the computers going forward. I think that'd be pretty cool for the other shows. William Jenks says this was a satisfying season finale. Given that we knew the Gorn conflict had to happen and there was only one episode left, it wasn't too surprising that they made this a cliffhanger up to the next season. The appearance of Scotty was fun, and they were wise not to make it too obvious how much he's going to appear after this. I thought that they wrote him more like movie Scotty than series Scotty, but I'm okay with that. Certainly the Spock character was developed a lot after the original 3 seasons of TOS. My only complaint is that the episodes from this season were very varied, and the set didn't have much coherence for me. Yes, I know they're supposed to be less serialized than most of the other shows, but it wasn't just the plots that didn't relate to each other that much. It was the tone of the show overall. When there are over 20 of them, it's easier to sneak in a specialty episode and still maintain an overall feel. But with only 10, the swings of tone didn't allow for the season to have a coherent feel in my view. I enjoyed watching, but I wasn't as enthralled as I was for season 1. Maybe there's a happy medium they'll hit for season 3. In any case, the season finale left me wanting more, so it must have been good. It gets an 8 from me.
Ariel Nash says, all the important stuff has been discussed, so I only have 3 things to add. First, Scotty. I fell in love with the character all over again as soon as I heard the accent. I love how he's brilliant but still young and with a lot of growth ahead of him. I will riot if he is not in an episode of Strange New Worlds beyond the first in season 3. Same Ariel. Second, as I was watching this episode, I was appreciative of Strange New World's ability to successfully recast TOS characters. The actors do these seasoned characters justice, and I'm so thankful that we get an opportunity to see them portrayed on screen a little longer. And third, I want to listen to Spock do live commentary on zombie movies. Yes, I think we're all in agreement with that. 9 Scotty-rigged Gorn traps.
Charles Bouchard says, almost perfect episode. Actual creative problem solving in crazy situations. The fact that the 2 captains know each other and were in communication at the time of the Gorn attack helps in counteracting the universe feeling too small. Love the way this introduces Montgomery Scott and shows off his skills right away. The cliffhanger has a lot of major characters in extreme danger, Batal, M'Benga, Ortegas, and Sam Kirk, not protected by what we know about Star Trek TOS, aka Trek canon. Bonus points for showing that Gorns don't only act on instinct. I gave this a solid 9 out of 10.
Lania Boylette says, if it wasn't for the Sam Kirk situation, or Sitch, I was actually wondering whether this was the end of M'Benga, La'an, and Ortegas. To my knowledge, the latter 3 are not in OG TOS canon. Speaking of which, the tension was taken out of the Spock Chapel near-death stuff because we know they will be living later on. As for death wishes, I guess Jordan will have to wait until next season to see Batel, maybe even Professor Pelia kick it. And then there's Scotty. Oh, I love him. A perfect introduction. 9 stealth shoulder torches.
I have a question.
It seems like you both have some follow-ups to that.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So don't we know that Sam Kirk gets killed by the flying pierogi?
I didn't want to spoil it for old Lainey if she didn't know some of these characters are written.
And then isn't M'Benga in TOS?
Okay. Yes.
So there are a few more characters.
We can't be
that
this
are
far
protected.
along, and she's been a member of the cat. Like, it's probably just a
the characters at this point, to my knowledge, that are not bulletproof would be Batel, Ortegas, La'an, Pelia. And that's pretty much it as far as the main characters.
Okay.
That we don't know their fate.
Also,
unless they want to
Una.
really pull some trickery.
Una?
We don't know the fate of Una.
We don't.
Not until, after the cage, we do not. But up until the cage, basically.
Well, the cage has already happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Jordan.
Sorry. Yeah, that's...
God. Call
In my
yourself a
head, it
professional.
happens right before TOS because it's the first episode.
Oh, right.
Anyways, but yeah.
Oh. But Una's on the ship. She'd be good.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, they won't do anything to Una.
Yeah, for now.
I don't like that. All right. Paul Pinelli says, just hearing the accent warmed my heart. I love Scotty as a character so much, and the actor in this episode did a great job. I'm assuming / hoping he will now be a regular cast member moving forward. I really love this show, easily my favorite show since DS9, and wish that the seasons were longer than 10 episodes. If any modern show deserved the old 22 to 26 episodes a season, it would be this show with its non-serialized storytelling. I can't think of a character or actor I don't like, even Carol Kane's weird appearance on this show. Can't wait till next season.
Paul, you had me there until the last sentence.
Paul, you had me the whole way. And that'll be the last time any of you have us the whole way, because now we're going to speak to the Gatekeeper of Forever. It is that part of the podcast. Let's take a nostalgic trip through time for some reason and visit this creep. Oh, great Gatekeeper, as we all know, you have awaited a question. That question being, what are your thoughts on the Strange New Worlds finale?
Let me get this straight. The Fed show up, trespass in Gorn territory with their new weapons of destruction, and start blasting Gorn babies? Finally, someone to root for. The Gorn are awesome. They stand up to the man, and they take what's theirs. What is Captain Battelle complaining about? Has she seen the price of eggs lately? She should be grateful the Gorn gave her some for free.
Ew!
I give this episode a 1.5, because the season's finally over.
Just like scrambled
Yeah.
Gorn eggs for breakfast.
It always makes me look inside myself whenever I agree on a talking point from the Gatekeeper. But yeah,
One thing's for sure, it won't be over easy.
go ahead and shut the door on your way out. Thank you, Gatekeeper. All right, let's go ahead and review this bad boy. Chelsea, what do you think? What do you give this one?
I don't know. Can I check and then
Should we go around?
Yeah. Just
all right.
Let me read the room.
Sure.
Read the room.
Jordan.
I'm going to give this one a 9. 9 Gorn guns.
Gorn guns 9 from Jordan. Do you want me to give me mine as well?
Yeah.
I'm going to give this one. You know what baby Gorn looked like? That singing insect from Pinocchio. So I'll give this 9 hegemony crickets.
Okay.
That's the only way I learned how to pronounce it correctly.
Cricket. Oh, it's just like a little dictator cricket. All right. I think I'm going to give it like a 8.35.
Okay, it's season finale rule, so we'll allow it. When you wish
Upon a
Stars.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, next time on, Chelsea, you got a next time on for us?
I do. It's super creative. Next time on Strange New Worlds, everybody dies except for the canon characters that already exist in the TOS timeline.
Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Well, that'll just start season 3 off with a bang, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Chelsea. Jordan.
Yeah, I might have tipped my hand earlier when I said Battelle was going to be like the mouthpiece of the Gorn. I could see that happening, but I actually had written down when the Gorn first show up and they leave her alone. I wrote down Battelle stars in the Gorn Whisperer, but then that was quickly over. So that show's already been canceled.
Oh, they should try. Oh, wait, they could call it Children of the Gorn.
Oh. Have we still named our episodes, Chelsea?
If she gives birth.
That would have been it. Next time on, in the Best of Strange New Worlds Part 2, as Spock tries to help Captain Battelle, who was under the influences of the Gorn, she finally speaks, "Hibernate, Spock." "She's exhausted," says Mbenga. "Yes, Doctor," says Spock. But if I may make a supposition, I do not believe her message was intended to express fatigue, but to suggest a course of action. Spock then sends the message to the Gorn, severs Patel from the Hegemony crickets in the nick of time. The Gorn think it's time to nap, so they all leave to catch some Z's. The day is saved.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Hegemony. So how did Strange New Worlds do this week? Using the combined average score of ourselves and you guys who voted at home, the season finale, Hegemony, comes to us with an average score of a 9.06. And that'll do it for this year. Star Trek Wars is available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, for now, and anywhere else fine podcasts are heard. If you want to support us in a non-financial way, the absolute best thing, get this, fine, get ready. Absolute best thing you could do is leave us a iTunes Apple Podcast review. That might not seem like much, but it is huge for the algorithms. Recent reviews are what help other like-minded Trekkies like you find us, so please write a 5-star review, and we will read it on air. You can also find us over on Right Twix at the Star Trek Wars. If you want a shirt, hoodie, or mug, head over to redbubble.com or follow the link attached to this episode. Jordan, another season in the books. Always a pleasure. Where can they find you?
It was a fun one. They can find me as a legacy character on our Discovery. Can't be killed off. Not yet. Not till Discovery's over, at least, which might do it. Season 5, whenever that may be, probably early 2024. And until then, we'll probably have some discussions on the council page. Maybe I'll throw up some polls. Maybe we'll have some bonus episodes here and there. But definitely going to take a little bit of a break. I am exhausted, so I will be hibernating along with the Gorn. And we'll talk to you all soon.
Yeah, like Spock and T'Pring. We're taking a break.
That's right.
Chelsea, as always, thanks for doing this with me. Where can they find you?
I am on the council, but I think probably doing some Patreon stuff.
Yeah.
Trek related.
Very soon, I think.
Yeah, and unfortunately, maybe watching some Enterprise 2-parters.
Yeah.
And I know Jordan thinks that he's hibernating, but if I have to watch those, then he's going to be reviewing it with us. So
I think I promised that Jocelyn would watch Enterprise as well for her. So maybe I can get her in on that as well. You can have a kindred spirit.
As for me, well, when I'm not talking Trek, you can find myself and my son Connor discussing all the Bond films over at the Bonding Together podcast, now available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Aside from Patreon and the occasional bonus app, that is it for us this year. Thanks again, everyone, for listening. We truly appreciate all of you and your support over these past 9.5 years. Until we see you again, to be continued.
what's Right Twix?
Twitter.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna go throw myself on the trash now. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Star Trek Wars.